Hey CS Dojo, in this video I'm going to introduce you to lists in Python. The list is a type of data, just like strings and integers that we've seen so far, and it's used to store a list of things. And it's similar to arrays in some other languages like Java. So let's take a look at one example here. To define a list, you can just write a equals open square bracket 3, 10, -1, close square bracket. And this line means define a new list with the elements 3, 10, and -1 and assign this list to this variable a. And just a quick note here that you can download this sample file by going to csdojo.io/python4. And another quick reminder that you don't necessarily have to use Jupyter Notebook to follow this course. You could use, for example, PyCharm, which is a good IDE for Python. Now let's run this cell, and once we run this cell, a should be defined. So let's print a with print parentheses a, and we see that we get a list with the elements 3, 10, and -1. What if we wanted to add an item to this list? You can do that with a.append parentheses 1. This means append the item, the number 1, to the list a. So this dot notation is a pretty common one, and you'll see more of that later in this course. So this function append is basically a predefined function that you can use on the list data type. So again, that's a.append parentheses 1. Let's execute this cell, and once we print a, you see that the number 1 has been added to this list. So one interesting thing about the Python list, which is different from some other languages like Java, is that you can mix types in a single list. So you could have a list containing numbers as well as a string. Let's see how that works by appending the string hello to the list a with a.append parentheses double quotes hello. And let's print that with print a, execute this cell, and you see that this list now contains hello the string as well as the numbers. A list could even contain another list. So let's see how that works with a.append square brackets 1, 2. So this means create a new list with the elements 1 and 2 and then append it to this list. Let's see how that looks with print parentheses a, and let's run this cell. And now you see that we have a bunch of numbers and then a string which is hello and another list within this single list. Okay, what if you wanted to delete an item from this list? For example, the last item. To delete the last item, you can do a.pop parentheses. So we're using the dot notation again here, and pop is another function that's predefined for the list data type. And that's why we can just write a.pop open parentheses close parentheses. And to see the result, you can of course print a, and let's run this cell, and you see that a now has the numbers and the string but not the list because that's popped or deleted. Let's delete the string as well, this hello string with a.pop, which deletes the last item of the list of course, and then let's print a, and you see that it now has numbers only. Now there are many other predefined functions other than pop and append on the list data type, but append and pop are two of the most common ones. Okay, what if you wanted to retrieve a specific item from this list? For example, the first item, the second item, or the third item. To do that, you can just write a square brackets 0, and this means retrieve the item from the list a with the index 0. And in Python, just like in many other languages, the index starts at 0. So the first item in the list has the index 0, and the second item has the index 1, the third item has the index 2, and so on. Okay, so we want to print this item just to make sure we got the right one, but actually in Jupyter Notebook, you don't have to use the print statement every time. You could just write a square bracket 0 here, and when you run this cell, you get the first item in the list. But to keep it consistent, and also to make sure it works in any other platform, for example PyCharm, I'm going to use the print statement every time. Okay, what if you wanted to retrieve the fourth item, this number 1. To do that, you can just do a square brackets 3. So the fourth item has the index 3, and then let's print that, and we get 1. And what if you wanted to change the content of this list? So what if you wanted to change this number 3 to 100? To do that, you can first select that item with a square brackets 0. That's the first item in the list. And then you can assign a new number or any new value to it with a square brackets 0 equals 100. Let's run this cell, and then let's print A again with print parentheses A. And you see that the first value of this list is 100 now instead of 3. Okay, now I'm going to give you a quick exercise problem to practice what you've learned so far. Let's say you have a list with 3 strings inside. So you have B equals square brackets, double quotes, banana, comma, double quotes, Apple, comma, and then Microsoft. Can you swap the first value of this list, whose index is of course 0, with the last item of this list? Before I show you my solution to this problem, I'm going to show you a model you can use for thinking about a list in Python. When you have B equals banana, Apple, Microsoft, the way you can think about it is that B is going to be sort of like 3 boxes put together, or one giant box, one long box with 3 compartments. And each of those compartments acts like a variable. So each of those refers to a value. In this case, the first compartment refers to banana, and the second element refers to Apple, and the third element, of course, refers to the string Microsoft. And I'm going to show you my solution. First, write temp equals B square brackets 0. So we're defining a new variable called temp for a temporary variable, which is going to refer to what B square brackets 0 refers to, which is this one. And then you can write B square brackets 0 equals B square brackets 2. So we're saying the first compartment should now refer to whatever the third compartment refers to. Because like I said, the index for the first item is 0, and the index for the second item is 1, and the index for the third item is 2. So after this line, the first compartment or the first element will now refer to what the third compartment refers to, which is Microsoft. And once you have that, you can write B square brackets 2 equals temp, and the third compartment now will refer to what temp refers to, which is banana. As a result, after these pieces of code, we have the desired result. So that's a list with the first compartment referring to the value Microsoft, and the second element being Apple, and the third element being banana, the string. Okay, let's make sure that method works in code. First, print the current list with print B, and we have banana, Apple, and Microsoft. Just like we saw, we'll first define a temporary variable with temp equals B square brackets 0, and then assign the value of B square brackets 2 to B square brackets 0, and then assign what temp refers to B square brackets 2, and then at the end we're going to print B. Okay, that's correct. We have Microsoft, Apple, banana now. And actually there's a shortcut for this, and that's B square brackets 0 comma B square brackets 2 equals B square brackets 2 comma B square brackets 0. Let's see if that works by printing B. And once we print B, the first element and the last element should be swapped again. So we should get the same list as the first one, banana, Apple, and Microsoft. And that's what we get. So this is definitely a valid way to swap 2 variables or 2 elements within a list, but don't worry too much about this particular method. Okay, just a quick reminder, you can go to csdojo.io/python4 to download the sample file. And the best way to support me would be through my Patreon page, and you can find that at csdojo.io/pat. Okay, I'm YK from CS Dojo, and I'll see you guys in the next video.